arcs. Or more specifically, Pokémon Anime arcs. I pretty much made a name for myself by going over major anime arcs like the Pokémon Leagues, the Grand Festivals, not the Masterclass cause showcases, but now that we've gone over all of that, I think it's time we give the spotlight to some of the other great arcs that anime has to offer. So in this video, I'll be going over the top 10 best arcs in the Pokémon anime. Shout out to the Lumiose legend, Connelly, for suggesting this video. Now before we begin though, we gotta establish a few ground rules. First of all, I'm not including the obvious choices like the leagues, evil teams, or any of the main climax arcs for that matter, because if I did, then the list would be pretty predictable. Like no shit, things like the Team Flare arc, Alola League, and Sinnoh Grand Festival will be on here. This is to give shine to the lesser arcs that aren't nearly as talked about. The only exceptions are if they just so happen to be part of a larger scale arc. There's actually a few of those on here, so you'll understand once we get there. Now surprisingly, there's a lot of arcs in the Pokemon anime that deserve some shine. So before we get to the top 10, let's quickly go over a few honorable mentions, starting with number 20. The Sinnoh Summer Camp arc. This was definitely a fun one and provided a nice break between the main Sinnoh journey. My next video will actually be going over the Sinnoh Summer Camp arc, so stay tuned for that if you want to hear more of my thoughts on it. Definitely did not plan this on purpose or anything. Number 19. The Akala Island arc. This was our first main island arc in Alola, and it was a pretty good one all things considered. It gave us good development for Lily, Lana, Kiawe, and then it ends things off with an epic grand trial and evolution. It was a great blueprint for all future island arcs to follow. Number 18. The Clubsplosion. Ah yes, the black and white tournament arcs. What makes this one stand out is that a rival gets the spotlight. You'd think following a rival's journey to the top would be uninteresting, but the arc does a great job at getting you invested and really builds Stefan as a strong rival for Ash. Number 17. The Saint Anne arc. One of the first major arcs in the anime, and boy was it a fun one. From a shipwrecked adventure to getting lost in an island of giant Pokemon, to fake boobs. This has original series wackiness written all over it, and I love it. Number 16. The Pony Island arc. This followed the same formula as Akala Island, but did it better. Every single character got developmental moments, which was awesome, and even Hapu as we see her process of becoming a kahuna. The downside is that although Ash vs Hapu is the climax of this arc, it's not very good, so it brings it down for me. Number 15. The Oreburgh arc. These 4 episodes are dedicated to Ash getting his first Sinnoh Gym badge. What makes it all work is that we see Paul get it before Ash. Throughout this entire arc, we see Ash trying to outdo him, which leads to his downfall. But thanks to the spin dodge introduced by Dawn, Ash is able to stop focusing on his rival so much and get the win. Very satisfying. Number 14. The Maylene arc. Another one from Sinnoh. The story of a gym leader that was at her lowest was very interesting. I love how Dawn was able to relate and help rejuvenate her. We even see her have a gym battle. It was great. This all led to my favorite Sinnoh gym battle, where we got an epic finale of Buizel versus Lucario. This is peak Pokemon anime battling right here. Number 13. The Guzzlord arc. I love the whole post-apocalyptic and alternate dimension theme it's got going on here. Like, this is literally a timeline where Alola failed to stop Guzzlord. It's kinda dark and depressing. But this does help Ash be more appreciative and protect the beautiful Alola he has. What holds it back from being in the top 10 is that it's only 2 episodes. I feel like if it had 1 or 2 more, it could have fleshed things out a bit more. But still, that doesn't make it any less epic. Number 12. The Nimbasa Subway arc. This one was awesome. Not only was Team Rocket's plan ingenious by having Meowth travel with Ash, but it was also fun. Unfortunately, 2 out of the 4 traveling episodes were meh, but it does make up for it with the climax at Nimbasa City, when the Rocket's plan comes in full force. It's one of the best Team Rocket arcs out there. Number 11. The Whirl Islands. This is where Johto finally gets good. Here we get great Misty development, the World Cup which was cool, great fillers like the Pidgey episode, and even the Lugia arc at the very end. The original series needed more of this. Unfortunately, it still has its few boring episodes shoved in there as well. Typical. And now that we've gone over that, it's time to get into the meat of this video with the top 10. Number 10. The Lake Acuity arc. Man, do I love this arc. The battle at Lake Acuity is a brutal one for Ash, as his team gets decimated by Paul. Even though Chimchar gets an epic evolution moment, it's still not enough. It's a tough one to watch. The battle absolutely crushes Ash's spirit, as we see in DP 133, but what I love about that final episode is that it's all about Ash rekindling his spirit and pushing onward. Although the rivalry of Ash and Paul was great already, this arc right here is what made Ash's Sinnoh League redemption all the more sweeter. It was definitely necessary. Number 9. The Karina arc. What makes this arc so great is that it really hyped up Ash's gym battle with Karina. The fact that normal Lucario could beat Ash showed that the gym battle would be no walk in the park. And on top of that, we also got to see what it takes to truly master Mega Evolution, and it was no easy feat. This really helped add more weight to the gym battle, as we all saw the work Karina had to put into this. Obviously, the battle isn't as personal as Ash vs Clement, but it for sure gives Karina the leg up here over most gym leaders thanks to the relationship she established with Ash. Number 8. The Dewford Island arc. Now typically, when Ash loses to a gym leader, he usually gets the win in the following episode by trying harder. But this wasn't the case in Dewford. Here, Ash really lets his cockiness get the best of him, and it f***s him over. So instead of taking on Brawly right away, he instead stays on Dewford Island and has an entire arc dedicated to training. And it was awesome. You'd think it'd be annoying to wait so long for a rematch, but no, it was done really well. Because he took his time to take on Brawly again, once we get to the rematch, you can really see the improvements Ash has made. What also makes this arc worthwhile is also the fact that here's where he catches Corphish, meets Steven Stone, and even May gets time to shine when her Beautifly fully evolves. In my opinion, this was a solid arc. Number 7. The Fennel Valley arc. Fennel Valley was the final location of the Battle Pyramid in the Advanced Generation series. After failing with Torkoal on his second try and receiving some words of wisdom from Brandon, Ash decides to stay and train in Fennel Valley to find his own unique battle style to win his final frontier symbol. What I love about this arc is that Ash hits a bit of a low point, but was able to regain focus after getting support from all of his friends and Pokemon. May was kinda going through the same thing as well, and it works out for her too. It was a great way to set up her leaving the series. Back to Ash though, this is where he goes back to the basics with his Kanto starters and eventually gets that epic win against Brandon. It's a fantastic way to end off the Advanced series. The only problem though is, why was the animation so shit? Number 6. The Nimbasa Club Battle Arc. The very first tournament arc in Black and White is the best one in my personal opinion. It's the one to introduce the concept, it's paced extremely well, and the battles are great. This is where Palpitoad truly gets to shine, and it's honestly really cool. Besides that though, Ash kinda takes a back seat here, but for all the right reasons. This is so that all the other characters get a chance to shine as well. The standout moments have to be when Silent gets rid of stupid ass Trip, and Iris goes head to head against Stefan. That one was so epic. Of course, Iris takes out Ash to become the big winner in the end, but it honestly makes sense typing wise. Again, this isn't really about Ash, but it's about everyone else, which is what made the tournament arc so good in the first place. Except for Luke, he was kinda forgettable. Although he did beat Silent. Hello? Number 5. The Ula Ula Island arc. Hands down the best island arc in Alola. This one has Ash taking on the Grand Trial alone, away from his Alola buddies, which allowed for a more focused story with great development. Here, Ash takes a major loss against Nanu, and as a result, receives training from the legendary Tapu Bulu. This was a really cool way to make Ash and Lycanroc stronger, and it proved useful since they had to take out 3 of Nanu's Pokemon in a row. This was an insanely tough Grand Trial. Team Rocket are also really important here, as this is where they finally get a Z-Ring and put it to use in the trial battle against Ash. In some ways, the Pikachu vs Mimikyu battle was even more epic and intense than the Nanu battle. And since Mimikyu is here whipping out its exclusive Z move, it only makes sense that Ash and Pikachu pull out the 10 million volt Thunderbolt once again. Such a great use of the trio and just a great arc all around. Number 4. The Meloetta arc. This arc basically kicks off the second phase of Black and White, and in Japan, it's literally the beginning of Best Wishes Season 2. There was so much packed into this arc that made it an enjoyable and memorable one. We got the return of Cynthia, return of Dawn, we visited Eastern Unova and got to see older gen Pokemon, Iris caught her Dragonite, we got the Junior Cup, which is my least favorite of the tournament arcs, but at least it features an exhibition battle between Cynthia and Caitlyn, and we got the evolution to Crocodile here. We also got the introduction to Cameron in this arc, which I did enjoy, and then to top it all off, Operation Tempest. There's a few things about this arc I didn't really enjoy, for example how Iris's Dragonite ate up most of the screen time during the Junior Cup, but the climax of Millowada's story honestly makes up for that. There was just so much damn content here. I love it. Number 3. The Wallace Cup. Now obviously, one of the biggest pros of this arc is the return of May. It was awesome. This is probably the best way they brought a companion back, as it makes sense narratively. It doesn't feel as forced like in Sun and Moon, and it doesn't feel as random like in AG. May is here to compete in the Wallace Cup because that's something she'd do. Besides that though, it's just a great contest arc in general. Almost feels like a mini Grand Festival. In fact, it's actually better than the very first Grand Festival arc. We got our boy Ash competing with Buizel, which was really cool. Buizel never got to compete in a contest while with Dawn, so he finally gets his chance to give it a try. Yeah, it's not for him. The main event is the final battle between old girl May and new girl Dawn. Having Dawn win is a bit controversial, I will admit, but at least story-wise, it was a great way to break Dawn out of her losing streak and pass the torch as the new main coordinator of the series. It's fantastic. Number 2. After tapping into Greninja's new power a couple of times, Ash finally decides to buckle down and learn to master it, and thus we get the Ash-Greninja training arc. This was an awesome one, cause at the time, the transformation was still a complete mystery, so you can't help but get intrigued and excited whenever the form is triggered. I mean, it almost took down Diantha's Mega Gardevoir for crying out loud. This shit was hype. It was still very unstable at this point though, and it also left Ash f***ed up every time he used it, so that was something else they had to work on. During this training arc, Ash also gets overconfident with the form, which led to a bit more complications, but luckily, once Ash and Greninja overcome this mental obstacle, they're able to fully be in sync and truly master Satoshi Gekkoga. Seeing them use the form at full potential for the first time was so damn satisfying. All the build-up paid off pretty well, all things considered. Except for the Kalos League, of course. Number 1. The Heart-Home Tag Battle. This is, in my opinion, the best non-league / evil team arc in the entire Pokémon anime. I swear it's not because of my DP bias, it's just that the story here is so good. Having Ash and Paul be tag team partners is freaking ingenious. That's drama literally just waiting to happen. At the same time though, this is where we get Chimchar's backstory about its Blaze ability and why Paul treats it the way he does. And then of course we all know the moment when Paul releases Chimchar but Ash takes it in. This was a huge moment for the Diamond and Pearl anime, as it's what shaped the rest of Ash and Paul's rivalry. Heck, I'd even go as far as to say that this shaped the rest of the damn series. On top of this great story, we also have lots of battles all throughout, and great characters like Brock's partner Holly and the introduction to Conway. This was a fantastic arc that definitely deserves more love. Thanks for watching everyone, and thanks again to the Lumiose legend Chase Connelly for suggesting this video. Remember to live your life to the fullest, and have yourself a damn good one.